What were you looking to do?
I'm sorry, I've never done this before, but I mean, I'll be honest, there's no way to get around it. So, I mean, I guess I guess, Your Honor, sorry, Your Honor, admit responsibility, I think.
All right, Mr. Balder, I do need you to take your hat off, though. We are in court. This is a citation. It was issued on April 5th of this year on 136th Avenue there, Manlius Township. This is for no U.S. Department of Transportation number. You're here on this citation, Mr. Balder, to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I would like an informal hearing, Your Honor.
All right. The first thing I would do here is swear you both in. If you can go ahead and raise your right hands. Swear or affirm that anything you would testify to here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Mr. Balder, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the motor carrier officer. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued this citation. But then after that, you'll have an opportunity to either testify in your own behalf or ask questions. And with that, if you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation. Officer.
Yep. So I was traveling westbound on 136th. I saw him pull out, and I saw that his pallets on his trailer were not properly secure. They weren't secure at all. The rearmost pallet had one strap on it. The four front pallets had none, so that's the reason for the stop. Upon investigation, I found that his gross combination weight rating was at 27,650 pounds. With a commercial vehicle, anything over 26,000 pounds in the state of Michigan needs a USDOT number. He qualified for that, and that is why I wrote the citation.
Okay. Sir, what is it you want to tell me?
Your Honor, are you referring to me?
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay, so Your Honor, that is correct. I was leaving the farm and stopped about 2 miles heading towards Hamilton, delivering seed. And I was a little confused when I got the ticket. I've been told, Your Honor, years ago that I did not need a DOT number. I've been hauling seed with this trailer for many years. I've not been pulled over or stopped by anyone hauling seed in 30 years since I've been doing this. So after the ticket was issued, I took the ticket. I seen another DOT officer in Zeeland on Monday morning, and he gave me a blue book. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a book from the DOT, and he pointed out to me a couple items that are a little confusing when I am a farm operator with a farm plate. First of all, he pointed out a definition of a farmer and a farm vehicle driver. After I talked to him, I also got another book, which looks like this. It is 2023 Michigan Farmers Transportation Guidebook.
This is an impressive piece of literature. Just so you know, it's published by the Michigan Farm Bureau in conjunction with the Michigan State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division. This publication is for educational purposes only and does not attempt to substitute or directly quote the laws referenced herein. Although it is the intent to keep this document current, regulations are constantly being revised, so readers are cautioned to consult the actual regulations for compliance. This document does not address all regulations, but rather those generating the most questions and concerns among farmers. I am going to post a link in the description to this amazing document. It's 56 pages of farmers transporting things, just in case you're a Michigan farmer and you need to know how to transport something. You might need it.
I read this book, which I have not looked at in years, Your Honor, but there's a definition in here, implements of husbandry. And this is defined as the farm trailer, a vehicle or trailer adapted for lifting or carrying another implement of husbandry being used in agriculture production. It goes down. What is considered this? A farm wagon, a farm trailer, a vehicle or a trailer. And then I turn to page 40 in this book, and it says vehicle registration. And at the bottom, the vehicle identification does not apply to vehicles used exclusively for personal use. I know this wasn't personal use, but it goes on to say, farm operations are considered in commerce. There is no prohibition against using a vehicle displayed identification and or DOT number. Implements of husbandry are exempt from DOT number requirements. And that,
Yeah,
I
sir, but
believe,
that's talking about like tractors and agricultural equipment. You're just using a truck to haul seed.
I'm using a pickup and a trailer. And a farm husbandry is called a farm trailer. I was pulling a trailer, a flat rack trailer.
I understand that, sir, but read that again, because it's about what you're hauling that gives you the exception, right?
Which would you
In
like me
other
to
words,
read again?
yes, if you were hauling, it happens all the time with hay. Farmers stack a whole bunch of hay on a trailer, and they're of a weight that would require US DOT.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what would you like me to read again? I'm carrying seed. Okay.
You're carrying what?
Seed, wheat seed and corn seed, which is planted. A friend of mine.
I'll give the motor carrier. Let's give the motor carrier officer a chance to explain why you didn't consider this under the farm statute.
So the trailer itself is not an implement of husbandry if it does not have implements of husbandry with it. That is just a trailer with pallets of seed on it. And the fact that it was over 26,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating, you need a US DOT number. But the trailer itself is not qualified as an implement of husbandry. Because you are selling the seed to a business in Hamilton, and that's not exclusively for the farm.
In other words, sir, let me explain something to you. Here's what happens. A farmer gets a whole bunch of hay from a field, and he's got to drive down the road to where he's taken that hay to put it up in his barns, whatever. We don't make them buy commerce stickers for that because essentially it's farm work. They have an exception for that. But once you're saying that you're driving farm stuff somewhere to somebody else, like you're going to sell it, then that's commerce. Do you understand the difference? So you're right. Here's what it would be. If you're moving seed from wherever you harvest it to wherever you plant it, you don't need this sticker. But it sounds to me like what the motor carrier officer just said is you were actually taking this to somebody else to deliver it. Essentially, you had sold them the seed.
Well, in all honesty, Your Honor, I do both. Okay. I will haul seed to a field that I own and plant it. But I will also
and then you would not, and then this ticket would not apply to that scenario, is what I'm telling you, that what you're reading there is correct. I'm just not sure this was that scenario.
No, Your Honor, honestly, it was not. But if I can just say something, I can guarantee you, I think where I heard this is at the Secretary of State years ago. I used to have a DOT number on my pickup. Okay. And I'm getting old enough to where I'm not going to be doing this too much longer. Hopefully, it's time for me to retire. But I guarantee you, I was told that, and I can talk to one of a friend of mine who has a large feed company. I don't see that as no different than me. He buys corn and soybeans, grinds it up in his feed mill, and then he hauls it away and sells it to farmers. He has got farm plates and no DOT numbers. And according to what I'm hearing now.
All right, but saying that some other guy's getting away with it isn't really a good defense, right?
No, I shouldn't even bring up another guy. This is myself. This is myself.
And I believe you that someone told you that, because your truck doesn't need the US DOT for most of the things you're going to use that truck for. But the particular scenario you got pulled over for at this point is the scenario where you'd need the US Department of Transportation number, right? Like, well, that's the thing is, most of the things you're telling me are correct. Mostly you don't need this. You know, let's call it half the time you use this trailer, you don't need it because you're moving around stuff from one part of your farm to the other part of your farm. But the particular scenario you got pulled over for on this day is one where essentially you were taking that stuff to be sold. It was over a certain weight that would require you to have paid the fees that any other company has to pay when they move heavy stuff around on the public roadways.
Well, there is, you know, and I don't know which book to believe, Your Honor, the blue book or the red book. But the red book, which was from Farm Bureau Insurance, from Michigan Farm Bureau, it says nothing about if I am selling the product. It says if it is being used in agriculture production. That
yes, on your farm, sir. Here's the problem. The reason why it doesn't say it is because it's not an exception. It wouldn't get you out of this ticket. But anyway, sir, I've made my ruling. I would find you responsible on this citation. Here's what I want you to understand. Because you had an informal hearing, you have every right to say, hey, I don't agree with what just happened there. I don't think that's the right ruling. I want to appeal this. You appeal it to what's called formal hearing in front of the district court judges, and then the prosecutor is involved, because that's who would then be the executive branch on the ticket instead of just the motor carrier officer. If you wish to have that formal hearing, you have every right to, but you must do two things. First is you must ask for it within 7 days of today's date. This window of opportunity closes. And secondly, you must come in, because you'd have to ask for that in writing, and you would have to post a bond in the amount of the fine. You understand your rights on appeal?
I think, Your Honor. So you said you're going to find me guilty. And if that's the case, I would just like to know what I owe, and I will pay it.
All right. Here's the good news. I didn't find you guilty because that would be of a crime. I just found you responsible. This is just a ticket. It's not a crime. It is a $250 fines and costs.
Okay.
So we're all set. As long as you understand your rights of appeal, we did everything we need to do here today. I'm going to go ahead and release parties. Thank you.
So I will send in $250, no court fees.
That is the fines and costs and everything wrapped up. That's the final number.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And we're all set. Thank you, officer. All right, gentlemen, this is a citation issued on March 30th of this year on 58th Street there in Fenville. It says disregard of a stop sign. Mr. Noonan, you are here on this citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation. Or two, you could admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight this ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I was looking to contest the ticket.
All right. And then the first thing I'll have you both do is raise your right hands. Swear affirm any testimony you give here today will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Noonan, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the deputy. He has a burden to establish to me why you issued a citation in the first place. But then you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your behalf, all right?
Thank you.
And deputy, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Yes, sir. So on the date in question, I was sitting stationary on the side of West Main Street at the near the intersection of 58th and West Main. The vehicle in question was seen coming southbound, approaching the intersection, and he did begin to slow down, but then went straight through the intersection, failing to stop. Due to that, I did pull the vehicle over once we made it into downtown Fenville. And when I explained the reason for the stop, originally the defendant actually advised he did not see the stop sign. So then citation was written. And when I went back then to give the citation, he then stated he did stop at the stop sign. But he did not come to a complete stop. Therefore, the citation was written.
Okay. And sir, what is it you wish to tell me? Mr. Noonan?
Okay. So yeah, the reason why I had to make that correction was because I was not familiar with the area, and just want to verify that I did come to a complete stop. I was not familiar with the area, which is why I initially said I did not see it, because it was pitch black out, and I floated the possibility that I could have passed a stop sign without stopping. But when I reviewed my Google Maps to see where 58th and Main actually was, I recalled that stop sign. Yes, I came to complete stop, and then I moved my car forward slowly, and on my left side, I was able to see his car parked perpendicular to the stop sign. And I think at that point, I was in his field of view. So it's possible that he did not see me stop because it was outside of his peripheral vision. And
Well, I have a question for you. 58th and Main is a T intersection. Have you ever come to a T intersection in your life and there not been a traffic control device there?
So,
in other words, you can't go straight, right? 58
exactly.
ends. And so I don't find your argument credible that you thought maybe you didn't see a stop sign, or because it was dark or were unfamiliar with the intersection, you didn't think there'd be some sort of stop sign or stop light at a T intersection.
Your Honor, I was saying that I wasn't familiar with the area, but I did stop at that stop sign. I thought he might have been referring to a stop sign on the straight stretch where he pulled me over. Perhaps there was another stop sign there that I didn't see. But when I realized
No, sir,
that
there isn't.
Correct.
You would get to drive all through the city of Fenville and not hit another stop sign. Matter of fact, the next traffic control device you would hit is when M89 and M40 merge at a blinking light miles and miles and miles from where you were.
Correct. But,
so I think he's talking about this stop sign.
Correct, but I did
well,
not
let
know
me just
that.
ask him, Deputy, where you were parked, did you have a clear and unobstructed view of vehicles as they approach the stop sign heading southbound on 58th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I understand what you're saying, Mr. Noonan, that you think maybe he only saw you after you had a complete stop and when you were sort of moving up a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, that he would have a clear field of vision of the approach to that stop sign coming down that hill right there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've listened to the evidence, sir. I would find you responsible on this citation as it's written. Now, because you had a contested hearing, you do have a right to say, I don't agree with what just happened there. I want to go to formal hearing. To go to formal hearing in front of the district court judges with the prosecutor's office involved, you would need to do two things. One is you would need to ask for that within 7 days of today's date. Your window of opportunity to keep fighting this ruling that I just made closes after 1 week. And two, you would have to come in and do that in person because you would have to post a cash bond in the same amount as the fine for this ticket. Do you understand your rights on appeal?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
All right. Well, we're all set for what we needed to do at court here. I'm going to go ahead and release you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. This is a citation. It was issued on March 30th of this year, 112th Avenue there in Cheshire Township for no proof of insurance. Basically, you're here on this citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation. Two, you could admit responsibility, but you'd like to make some sort of explanation to the court as to how or why this happened. Or 3, you wish to contest this citation, in other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Number 2.
Okay, what is it you'd like to tell me?
Well, my car had been in the shop for a couple months and I just got it back. And, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I take care of my special needs son. And so I've got a lot on my plate. So, my car was messing up. So they told me to bring it back in. And that's where I was at. I was heading back in. And I didn't realize that my insurance just expired. It was like March 13th or something like that. So it had just expired and I didn't know until she pulled me over and we both looked at it and she was like, oh, it just recently expired. And I was like, yes, you know, I got a lot on my plate. And then so she, you know, did what she had to do and stuff. And then she was like, okay, here, you know, she gave me the ticket and everything. And she was like, get your insurance. And I was like, okay. So as soon as I got to my destination, I called my insurance company right away and said, hey, my insurance is expired, you know, but they were not there because it's a Saturday. So they called me back first thing on Monday morning and we got my insurance squared away. I have my binder, but because of a new law, they said, or something like that, they had to have a 7-day waiting
Yeah,
period.
you know, it's weird. You're the second person I've heard that from. I've never heard that before.
Yep.
But now it's out there in the world that
Right.
you could sign
So-
up and pay them the money right then and there, but it starts a week later.
Yep. So my insurance, my binder says April 1st, which was the first day that they opened up. I mean, I couldn't get insurance on Saturday to have the fee waived. I'm sorry.
Let me explain something to you. I'm fairly generous on these. In other words, what you're saying is, yes, you know, when I was driving around and had my interaction with the deputy, I didn't have insurance, but then I went and got it right afterwards. So really what my choices are is fining you for not having that insurance or letting you spend that same money to go get insurance. I'd rather have you do that so that you're now driving the right way. So essentially what I do on these tickets is, if you show me after the fact that you went and got insurance, which deputy, I can tell you, she actually sent it in, I just looked at it. What I do, or what I can do, is you're admitting responsibility on this ticket, but I can reduce the fine all the way down to $25. That's literally just the cost of the clerks having to process all of this.
Right.
But it saves you that money because you had to use that money to go get insurance. So
Right.
essentially what I would do on this is, you do still owe some money on this, but it's $25 as opposed to, I think, 145 or 135. Whatever.
Right. Yeah, because I came in and showed my proof of insurance and she was like, you're too late. And I'm like, but I didn't want to drive because it's not effective until today. So I waited until it was effective so that I can go there and show them. And I was like, I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, you know, I don't work and I take care of my special needs child. I don't have a lot of money, but I did get my insurance.
Who you're saying that you went and showed it to, and they said that what, I mean, this is a waivable ticket, so you could have come in, showed that insurance.
I did, and she said no. She was going to charge me $145, and I was like, I started crying. I was like, this was the whole purpose of me coming in within the 10 days. And she was like, nope, you needed to have it that same day. And I was like, but they weren't open. I said, I got it that
Here
Monday.
at my clerk's office here in Allegan?
Yes. I talked to somebody that was at the window and she was like, you have to pay $145. She said, or you can do the informal. And I was like, well, let me do the informal then, because I don't think this is right, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't quite make sense to me. Well, not only do I have the power to say, hey, it's only $25, but I'm going to talk to them this morning when I get back there to find out who it was, because to me, it also feels like when the deputy marks that waivable, if you come in within 10 days and fix it, then the only thing you did was not have proof of insurance at the stop. Essentially, let me explain to you what's sort of happening, just so you know that we're not doing different things. So this ticket is not saying you don't have insurance. Driving without insurance can be a crime. If you look at your ticket, it says you were driving without your proof of insurance. And essentially what that means is, for waivable, plenty of people, it happens, they just didn't have it, they don't keep it in their glove box, they got
Right.
flustered because there's a police officer right there, so they couldn't find it on their phone. They come in and say, hey, look, I really did have it for March 30th. If you had it and you can prove you were covered on that day, you just weren't able to show it to the officer, then the clerks have the power to knock you down to $25. The problem is you did in fact get it after the fact, so you didn't have it on the 30th. So the clerks can't give you the same kind of deal I can. But when you come in front of me on informal, then I say the whole thing I said, I'd rather have you spend money getting insurance than on
Right.
fines and costs. So I'm going to give you that same $25 deal. But that's why
Thank
the
you.
clerks sort of didn't do it for you, because
Right.
they would only have the power to do it if you were covered and you just didn't have your proof to show the officer at time of stop. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, but we're all set now. You can, we're all done for what we need to do in court. You just need to wait. I would try to call them right now because they don't know I gave you that deal, but starting at about lunch, you could pay it, but it's just $25,
Right.
all right?
I mean, what's the deadline? I mean, how many days are you giving me so I can, you want me to call them today and pay it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sure. I think they'd probably give you 30 days to pay it, but it's probably best to
Well,
just
no,
knock it
it'll
out.
be, right, it'll
Yeah.
be less than that, you know. 'cause
I
have
just
to-
mean, don't, if you call them right now, they're just gonna have to come down here and ask me, hey, did you give her that? Did you really say $25? But if you
Right,
give
I'll
me
wait.
2 more hours, then they'll know. All right? All right.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm gonna
Thank
release you guys. All right, gentlemen, this is a citation issued on February 14th of this year on M89 in Gunplain Township. A speeding citation on an actual 74 in a 55 zone. However, the deputy only wrote this as a 1 to 5 over. Mr. Fidel, you're here on this 1 to 5 over speeding ticket to do one of 3 things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or 2, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened, or 3, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I was hoping to just ask forgiveness on the points, and I'm happy to pay the money. I was at fault for speeding, yes. I have a clean record right now, and I'm also on the fire service, and the points just don't look good. So I was hoping to just ask for the points dropped, and I mean, you know, I'm happy to pay the money. I'm not trying to get out of that. That's just kind of what I'm here for today. I do appreciate the officer's forgiveness, you know, on the 1 to 5
Yes.
over.
And sir, this is a separation of powers situation. In other words, I'm judicial branch. I can decide whether you're responsible or not responsible on the ticket as it's written. The officer as executive branch decides what ticket you're facing. He's already reduced this. You don't have a ticket for going 19 over the speed limit. He wrote the wimpiest speeding ticket he can write you. Points don't come from the court. I'm not going to give you points. The deputy's not going to give you points. The only penalty the court has is that fines and costs. I can explain to you how to get rid of your own points if you're interested.
So, okay, so the points are given through the Secretary of State, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess, is the deputy here today?
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I guess my only option would be if you guys wanted to drop the ticket. If not, you're saying that the points, I'd have to go through the class.
Correct.
Through
If
the
you already know
Secretary of
about the
State.
class, you may not be able to take it. Have you ever taken the class before?
I think I took it years ago, maybe in like 15 or something.
All right. Well, you might be able to try again. They do make you wait a few years in between attempts. They don't let you
I
sort
think
of
it's
keep doing
only
it.
once,
But if it's
a lifetime.
If it's been that long, you could probably do it again.
No, I think it's only once a lifetime, because the officer had told me about it when I got stopped and I looked into it, and they said
Oh,
it's
I
only
think
once.
I would look into it again. I've been telling people for years that you have to wait a long while, but it's not, I don't think it's just once.
Oh, yeah, I called the Secretary of State. They told me it was once in a lifetime and that I was not eligible.
Oh, all right, then you
Yeah,
can just outwait
I
your
didn't know
points.
that either.
The points die a natural death every 2 years.
Okay, so nobody's willing to do anything else then?
Well, sir, this is already the second time we've all been here on this ticket. You just weren't here on the first time. I can't imagine the deputies feeling too much more generous than writing you the lowest speeding ticket possible.
Okay, I was just asking. I had wrote a letter on the other situation. So that's why I'm here again today, but that's totally up to you guys. That's where I'm at, and doesn't sound like there's anything else gonna get done.
All right, then, sir, we are all set for what we need to do here today. I'm going to go ahead and release you.
All right, have a good day.
Hi. Sorry,
Hi.
you want to hear me, right?
Yes, you're good to
Okay.
go. I just need
Great.
Officer Miller now to take himself off mute.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
All
There we
right,
go.
here. Let me
All
click.
right.
You want?
So-
let me know. Let me try to turn my video on. Oh, whoops.
It's more important that we hear you than we see you, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
There you go. This
Oh.
says that on March 28th of this year on 144th Avenue there in Door Township, there's a speeding citation on an actual 74 and a 55. However, the deputy only wrote it for 1 to 5 over. Ms. Mulker, you're here on this 1 to 5 over speeder to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or 2, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or 3, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I'm sorry, I've never done this before, but I mean, I'll be honest, there's no way to get around it. So, I mean, I guess Your Honor, sorry, Your Honor, admit responsibility, I think.
Okay.
I
Your Honor.
Well, let's start a different way. What were you looking to have happen here? What were you hoping was going to happen?
I don't know. Sorry. I've just never. I guess just try to. I guess not get another point on my record, but I mean, like, I need to close my office door. Sorry, I'm at work. Let me quickly close my door.
Your Honor.
Yes.
If she wants to plead responsibility, just concerned about the points. If you don't object, I'd be willing to do a limited access where she doesn't get any points, but will pay the fine.
Okay. So, ma'am, I can't change your ticket. Only the executive branch, in other words, the law enforcement officer, can change your ticket. Right now, you have a ticket that has a fine, because that's the only thing the court does is give you a fine. But the Secretary of State would give you 2 points on the particular ticket that you have right now. What the officer is saying is he has no objection to amending this ticket to a different kind of speeder. It still is a 1 to 5 over, but a little bit of a factual fallacy here. We would now say it was on a limited access road, like say 131 or I-196 or something like that. That speeder is still the $100 fine you pay to the court, but it is 0 points with the Secretary of State. So it's essentially what the deputy is saying is because you're not here trying to say you weren't speeding, he has no problem amending it to that ticket, which would still get you the fines and costs of $100, but it would be no points. It sounds like that's a match for what you're trying to have happen here. So do you have any objection to amending that ticket?
I don't think so, because like I just want to say, like, I know like what I did was like not like obvious, like, and especially like with, I don't know, I don't want to keep you guys on here and ramble though. I just what David said to me too was just, it really meant something, just being like, we're just here to keep people safe because I have a kid. So like it really means like basically like the stuff that you said to me meant a lot to me, to just take it more easy and to just like slow down more. Like I've been even seeing like improvements on just like my gas mileage too, because I really took that to heart because I'd hate for my kid to be hit by someone. So no, that is something that I would like to do.
So Ms. Moker, we're now going to say you were going 72 miles an hour, but in an area where the speed limit would be 70 miles an hour. All right. So in other words, we moved your car to a different kind of road, but everybody's allowed to do that. Essentially what would happen now is you do still have to call the court to make arrangements to pay your fines and costs, but you will receive no points from the Secretary of State on this violation. All right.
Okay. So then
Then you are
do
all
I
set.
pay it online then, or do I
You
have to
can.
call online?
Well, I say call because they give you a few options, but yes, pay online is certainly one of those options. So the only thing you have to do now is pay that fines and costs. Other than that, everything else will take care of itself. There will be no points with Secretary of State. All right.
Can I ask you one quick question? Do you by chance have that phone number, or should I write it down or type it down or something?
It should be on your appearance. It's 269.
Okay, it's 269-673-0400.
Yep. And they'll explain to you your different options for paying it. All right.
Okay, sweet. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much again.
All right. Go ahead and release you.
What should I do? Leave?
Yeah, I'm going to take you out. Don't worry about it.